Technical difficulties.
Good evening, Melrosians, here on 02176 and around the world. I am Tom Catalini.
I'm Sam Hammer.
And I'm Tom Shampoo.
And this is nothing other than Let's Talk Melrose, a show where Melrosians talk to Melrosians about Melrose. And I say it often, but it's so true this week. It is a jam-packed episode. We have a special guest. We have a new intern organizing us and getting us special segments. It's off the hook. So right now, before you do anything else, text all your friends, everybody, and get them to dial in. This is a show not to be missed.
Uh-oh. It says we're having trouble streaming to Facebook.
Facebook has trouble.
Yeah,
look at that.
Send.
Oh,
I see.
We need to restart.
I don't think so. Let me see. I'll try and get this. We're having trouble with remove, edit. Huh. Hang on while the show. All the viewers out there.
Well, there are people watching on Twitter and YouTube. So, yeah, let's get the Facebook people dialed in. So,
I don't know if we can.
Well, just, you know what you should do is just fix whatever the problem is.
Well, I don't know if we have to do that live here while people are trying to watch the show here. Yeah. We might need to reboot, like end the broadcast and restart it, or no, we can't do that.
I just dialed in on YouTube. We're definitely broadcasting on YouTube and I think Twitter. So,
but not Facebook. Facebook. That's the problem.
So
that's what we're saying.
We'll keep trying and let you know if it's resolved. Please check Facebook to ensure the stream looks
okay. It says
okay.
edit.
All right. Oh, this is maybe.
Do you want me to remove it and come back? Like remove Facebook and then try to do it again?
Yeah, it still says going live soon.
Yeah, on Facebook. It does.
All right, want to go and start again?
Well, we can't.
There's one viewer. Wait a minute. Is that?
Yeah. If we end the broadcast, though, we have to rebuild the whole new broadcast.
Oh, Matt switched over to YouTube. He blames the intern.
All right. We might be on Facebook now. I just got us a check mark.
Oh, there we go.
Facebook. Can you tell us if we're on?
Facebook. Someone on Facebook, if you're there, give us a thumbs up.
All right. It says we're now live.
On Facebook. Beautiful. Welcome, everybody. You know what? We need to play that opening again for the Facebook crowd who loves that opening.
Okay.
We're not going to do that, but we should.
Well, we could. So, I went off script a little bit, but I thought it was a good opening. I think the Facebook viewers missed. They're going to have to go to YouTube and Twitter and check it out. But anyway, here we are.
Watch it again.
Here we are. Watch it again.
Welcome.
We're getting some thumbs up. We're back on the air. They can't keep us off.
No way.
People are trying to jam. Mark Zuckerberg and team are trying to jam the signals, but then they realize we're just bringing in all the viewers. So here we are. Oh my! So what I was saying is, what a jam-packed show. We have a special guest this week. There are all kinds of new scenes emerging in town. We have an intern who's just started with us this week, who's got a special segment. Has been doing a lot of work with the crew. So we are off and running.
Yeah. Special welcome to Will, our intern. It is great to have somebody like this. So we'll be around for a bunch of weeks. We expect the next 6 or 8 weeks or so. Yep. And it's going to make the show that much better.
Yes. I just hope we don't ruin his chances of graduating by being on a controversial fake news broadcast. But I think we'll be okay.
I hope we get a good grade. I want to pass. That's all.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
So Matt Fanikos is here with us. He's launched the Melrose Comedy Bar. So there's more stuff happening in town. Sam and I went to see Julie Nolan at the Rising Eagle a couple of weeks ago. So there's a whole comedy scene emerging. I just found out today, did you guys hear about this? There's an acoustic open mic scene happening at the Knights of Columbus on Thursday nights now in Melrose.
Yes. I did see that, yeah. Yeah. And be careful what you wish for because you'll get it. So you've said that for a long time, Tom, right? Yeah. That we need a space where we can just have like open mic night or live music and all of that. And boom, there it is.
Boom, West Gloucester Street, walking distance for many of us Melrosians. So Thursday night, 7:30 to 10 o'clock or 10:30 at night. acoustic open mic, so it'll be nice and low key. I think they got a nice bar over there at the Knights of Columbus and a good scene to sort of hang out in. So
Wow.
there's a lot happening.
The K and C for some people.
The KFC.
Yes. Well, you're an acronym kind of guy, Tom.
you
So
know.
I know that's I shouldn't have used the full name.
Right? Exactly. You know. Inside.
Maybe we ought to get on to the news segment.
We could do that, yeah.
There's the newsies.
We know it's here. We know it's time for the news.
Okay, so the first item, Melrose Public School hearing, fiscal 23 budget. I have no knowledge or information about this. Which of you watched the show, watched the coverage, or is this where Tom gets riled up?
Yes.
We were chatting earlier in the green.
Let's get ready to rumble!
No. It's not like that at all. I only admire everything about Sam and what she thinks and what she says.
Oh, sorry, I missed this.
No, that's not true at all. She's making it more than it is. We were talking about this public hearing, the budget, the public hearing for the budget, which I guess is Tuesday, April 12th, a week from tonight at 6:30. So you can go to the public hearing and then race back home for LTM
Right.
live at 8:30. I was only saying to Sam, this feels like one of those things where we've talked about this before, giving people a chance to hear, ask questions, and weigh in on a budget process. So it doesn't feel as closed as we sometimes feel like it is. And I feel like Sam had a different perspective.
What? My perspective, also Tom's perspective, was nobody cares. Why are we even doing this?
We can't. No, it's not. Nobody cares. But I think I was saying I don't think people want to drive the bus. I don't think people want to have their hand on the gear for the budget. Like maybe go hear what we're going to do with money, but I don't think folks want to say, you know what, we spend too much money on DPW. Let's do this instead. Like no one wants that kind of power. Nobody wants to
Are you
give that
talking about
kind
the
of
school or the city budget?
the city budget.
Well,
I would like
this
that
is the
kind of
school-
power.
Yeah, I would like that power too. So I
I
don't know
would
what
wield it.
nobody does. Yeah, but this is
Right.
on the school side. So I was just saying, like back
On the school side.
Yeah, you know, when we were in person and we had live meetings at schools, PTO meetings, there used to be like a budget tour where somebody from the school committee, usually the finance chair, would come to a PTO meeting. They'd give a presentation and say, "This is what we're planning on spending all your money on. How does that feel?" And then you could have question and answer about teacher salaries or technical equipment or arts and investment in, you know, hiring more staff for extracurriculars, or how much are we spending on uniform, all of these things.
Yep.
It was just a good way for people to like engage. So now that we are trying to get back to getting together, this is just an opportunity, not maybe like the best way, because you can't really, it's not question and answer, right? It's just like you saying things and then hearing things. It's a way. So
Yeah.
So are they really? So in all my years involved in the school system as a parent, I never saw a broad base, or, you know, maybe I had the opportunity and just didn't seize it. But so this is a broad picture of the budget tour. You use that phrase. Who's doing
like
this?
that.
The school committee?
you know, this was several years ago when Liz DeSelm was the finance chair. She worked really hard. I remember she worked really hard on this presentation, and she would tour around to the schools, and for people who, you know, were able to get to these PTO meetings to watch us, it was very informative. So,
well, I'll tell you what I like about that is a little emphasis on the big picture and how it integrates and how things balance out versus, you know, just going for, you know, like I want chocolate milk as a choice in line, or whatever the specific issue is that people go and get all riled up about, like Tom does occasionally. And I'm a little disappointed that he wasn't fired up tonight, but
No, I think we agree. I mean, it's a good step to let people come in and have a chance to hear more about the budget, ask questions, and find out. What we were saying, what we had extended that beyond that to think in terms of if people really want to have a voice in what we do with the budget. Like, in other words, I think we should spend X for this, you know, whatever. I feel like if you give people that power, that it's more often than not, it'll be a problem, because you have all kinds of opinions on ways we should spend money, and really I want the city to know what to do with it and spend the money the proper way. And
People should have a chance to weigh in. The problem we have, I think, at the city, paid less attention to the school budget, is a lack of transparency.
Right.
So there were folks advocating for an override some years ago, and I'm trying to okay, what's the current state of things, and how do I do a little budget analysis? It is not at all easy. I admittedly tapped out early. I had some neighbors and friends who dug in a little deeper, but you're getting 200 pages of PDF printouts of a spreadsheet versus something.
Right.
And I know there's a little bit more of a fancy online thing. Doesn't necessarily slice and dice the way you want, but I don't know, I'd be on the side of more transparency. So just giving people information doesn't mean they have the power, as you say, to line item veto or whatever. It gets them hopefully more informed. And I think you're going to have a byproduct. I think what you're talking about is a very real byproduct of that. And it's going to create some problems, but I think it's probably better to be open than closed.
I'm with you on that. I am.
In the absence of information, people fill it in with all kinds of negative stuff. If I don't know if I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, I just assume it's bad stuff.
Right. So I was going to pivot.
Go ahead, pivot. Yeah, please do.
I was going to say that. So on Sunday, when we were prepping our intern during his first meeting, we did dive into the city council agenda for last night, and we were looking at some of the line items, which included Tom Shampoo getting confirmed for his commissionership. So congratulations formally.
Thank you.
But also it included a section in there with some of the orders that they had to vote on. One of them was around whether to centralize our polling locations. And next to it, it said, ought not to pass.
I saw that.
So we found that very interesting. So we phoned a friend and said, this says ought not to pass. Does it mean it's not going to pass? And they said, no, it didn't pass in committee. Now it's coming back to the council for a full vote, which is pretty much the same people voting several times, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's a committee of the whole, as they say in the business.
How many? What whole? Okay. So, so anyway, it ought not pass because it passed last night.
Not to pass didn't get picked up, I guess, at some of the radio stations.
Ought to pass. So anyway, it did pass. So we shall be having centralized polling at the high school auditorium, like we have the last few elections. So that was a little surprising.
Yeah.
How was your voting experience at the central location when you went last time?
I thought it was great. I thought there was a compelling case for centralized voting in the pandemic, and there were issues about accessibility and all of that. I also am familiar with the counter. I don't know what MS Gym means.
Middle school gym.
Middle school gym.
Oh, okay. That's
where
what it was.
I barely go in that building. Thank you.
Oh yeah, I went last time. What's the MS Gym?
Well, I'm not an acronym guy like you are. We established that early on in tonight's show. I would type out middle school gymnasium. That's how I roll. I'm a fully, realized.
Melissa, I appreciate the comment. I appreciate it. I know what you meant.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm in the MS Gym, as they say, as the kids say out there. And I thought it was good. And I thought there were real issues about parking and accessibility and the logistics of what happens with the kids who are in school and all of that. There is a real counter argument, which I had understood, which is why this was, I wasn't terribly surprised that it was ought not to pass, was that it's the centralized sort of is a disincentive for some folks who find it convenient to vote in their neighborhood.
Closer to
so
home, yeah.
I'm probably on the fence on this, honestly, but it's interesting to have seen it go back and forth. So did it pass unanimously? Was it, what is it, a contentious thing?
I don't know about contentious, but there were definitely sides and it was not unanimous. Our Ward 5 counselor voted against it. And I think 5 and 7, 3, 2, there were several that voted against
that's
it.
That's a lot of numbers. Maybe our intern can look up the roll call vote from last night.
Let's say, Ward 5, for example, we have a lot of folks who live in apartments right at Oak Grove that may or may not have transportation. And in order to go vote in person, they would have to hop on a bus at some point take the bus all the way to the MS gym to vote, which is not a disincentive. I would call it disenfranchising, honestly.
So that's the middle school, by the way.
If you make
It's
it
1
hard
mile
for people,
to the Lincoln School, though. Still
Yeah.
a
if you,
mile.
but it's still
another
closer.
mile.
Straight shot on the 132.
Right.
It is still, or even in Ward 7, which is again down Hoover, Swains Pond, all the way down there. It's not as easy if you move it all to one location. That is not. The more you decentralize democracy, the more democratic the process is.
Yeah. So the proof is in the pudding, as they say. At the next election, we'll see if the numbers are flat, if the numbers are higher or lower for voter turnout, and then we can make a decision from there. If we see over the next 1 or 2 or 3 election cycles, there's a big drop in voters coming out, I contend that we would go back and say, let's remove that.
Yeah, and also
centralized voting and get folks voting again.
it doesn't also solve the problem of accessibility in these buildings. So
Right.
Winthrop or Steelhouse, if it's not
Right.
accessible for people to get
Right.
in to vote,
Yeah.
it's not accessible 363 other days of the year for people to get in there. So let's focus on solving.
Well,
some of
what
these
about
issues.
what about mail-in ballots? What about
That's
other
great idea.
techniques to make it more accessible?
So that is also a proactive thing that I hope our city does with tons of intention now, knowing that it is much harder for people to physically get to the polls on election day.
Yeah.
That they
right,
do
it's-
proactively send post they should. I mean, some places in America actually send ballots in the mail. So
Yeah.
and
Do we do
could
that? Why don't we do that in Melrose?
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Let's do that. Problem solved. What's next on the news?
Anyway, I'm disappointed in that, and
Couldn't you have both? Couldn't you have the centralized voting that's more accessible in terms of handicap ramps and that sort of thing, and parking and less staff to run a tight ship over there, and do mail-in ballot? So no matter where you live,
you
on
can
the
do a
perimeters
mail-in
of town?
ballot anyway. You can.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Why not
Yeah.
do both?
You can do both, but that still doesn't make it. It's still disenfranchising to folks who want to go there and physically vote.
Right. I'm gonna
Well-
gently guide us back to the
get
news
us-
items that we need to move forward on.
Let's keep it going. Keep it going. We have a special guest here. I want to get to
Guest
that.
is anxious to get the guest on. It's a great topic. It really is an important topic, and we should have this conversation.
That's fine. I've been consistent throughout on my statements on this, so we can move on. So
You know what?
participatory
I'm
budgeting.
happy to change my mind in light of new information. Thank you.
Yeah.
It is a good topic. So I think somebody from the Commission on Disability did speak about the inability for folks to get into the locations that are not accessible. I think a stopgap could have been, let's remove those locations for the next election, fix them up, and then put them
And
back
then be
into
done.
circulation. So we can.
But I mean, what's more accessible than, I put it in the mail slot and the mailman picks it up and takes it down to City Hall for me? What's more accessible than that? Why is that a problem? Mail
it's-
everybody a ballot. Here we go.
Only recently have we allowed people to apply for ballots by
Just
mail
send them a ballot.
without an excuse. Yes, we should just send them a ballot.
Well,
but anyway, we'll get there. But it's hard to get people to get involved. We should lower the barriers.
absolutely.
Yeah.
On that,
Thank
we
you.
agree. Now,
Yes.
Tom wants to get us to the
get-
participatory budget.
No, that's Sam's budget on that. So please.
Oh.
Sam.
Okay.
I didn't.
So-
I didn't. Go ahead. Go ahead.
All right.
Please.
Participatory budgeting is basically where the city sets aside funds for the community to participate in how the money gets spent.
Yes.
So this will be our second year in Melrose where we're dabbling in participatory budgeting, and there's $5,000 set aside again for students to pitch their ideas and for the city to fund one of their ideas. So our roving intern went out
Fabulous intern.
Yes.
Will do.
and did some live reporting. So we're
Oh,
going to show
all
you
right.
that
I
now.
haven't seen this segment yet.
Oh boy,
Oh,
here we
good.
go.
See it.
Here
All
we
right,
go.
here we
If the city had $5,000 of free cash, what would you want them to spend it on?
I would say $5,000 could be spent on street lamps in the Whitfield trails because I run there a lot. It's very nice.
I think that the $5,000 should be used for fixing up the streets of Melrose.
Make the knoll a turf field.
Make an outdoor volleyball court.
Dogs. More friends for Tinker.
If I had $5,000 to spend, I would give it to Melrose Alliance Against Violence so we continue to give money to fund things that help with resources in our community.
Better chairs in the science rooms because they're all wobbly.
Renovate the high school bathrooms.
Lights for public basketball courts.
I don't know. I think the city should spend $5,000 on 1,250 Wendy's 4-for-4s.
That is brilliant. I mean, it's just a brilliant.
That
video.
could be a community catalyzing event.
Yeah.
The Wendy's 4-for-4s are here on the Melrose Common, tweeted out, and the community gets together and has a great time. I like that.
The first 1,250 people.
I wasn't so quick with the math. There's a lot happening in that one.
I love that we get to hear their voices because these are kids oftentimes who can't vote. So give them a chance to have a voice and have a say. But I love some of those answers. They're really fantastic answers. I actually like the idea of lights for a basketball court, for example, or fixing the streets. We talk about that all the time, right? Yeah.
Come on. That was a joke. The kids don't want to fix the streets. What are they doing?
I was surprised by that.
Potholes.
They
I like
care.
If you're driving your dad's or mom's car, you want to fix the streets.
Well, even more reason not to care. It's like a rental. Kidding me? Mom and dad's car. But I like the MAV idea. That was also a good idea. That would be 5,000 well spent.
Yeah, sure it would. Yeah.
That's a good program.
So well done,
Thanks,
Will.
Will.
That
was a great segment.
Great
Wow,
video. Yeah.
Man on the
Thanks for all the students who weighed in too.
I still think he should call the mayor's office every morning looking for a quote on the current situation, just to see what the statement. I want a daily statement out of the mayor's office from our intern. I don't know. They only got 4 hours a week.
And then if he says what situation, you say, so you're denying the situation exists,
right? Right. Right. So, are you refusing to answer, or are you saying no comment? Let me understand. I have to go back to the team.
Oh my gosh.
Well, anyway, welcome, Will Dugan. Thanks very much for helping out.
Great.
And we look forward to some great additions to the show because you're here. Thank you.
Yes. And speaking of great additions, we did get we were reached out to last week from friends from Bread of Life. So I want to just mention very quickly, they would like to, there's a program to expand their backpack nutrition program. So basically the Bread of Life distributes backpacks filled with food for Everett students on a regular basis each month. The Foundation Trust, which I looked up, is a foundation trust, and they fund. So one thing that made me think of the Maeve comment was they do fund nonprofits that serve marginalized and underserved communities. So the Foundation Trust will match up to $10,000 of funds raised for 2022.
Wow.
So I'm going to put in the link.
Nice.
They will match 50% if you do a one-time donation, but if you do a recurring donation, they will match 100% of that.
Nice.
Up to $10,000. So go get it, everyone. And then here's more on the article with that. So
cool.
Nice. Thank you for that.
Shortly. Yep. Yeah. And then thank you to April is Occupational Therapy Month. So thank you to all the OTs in the hood. You do a lot of work and it is greatly appreciated.
It is. Thank you for that. Yeah.
I'm going to keep rolling because I feel like
you just keep going. I'm not going to stop you. Step out of Sam's way.
Lady's reading this for the first time, I think. So Melrose Talks Together has our second conversation is out. This is an effort to bring people who don't know each other together in Melrose that may have some differing lives. And so this week, yesterday, I guess, right? We released the Jen Gentili, who writes for the Melrose Weekly paper, and Mike Karaji writes for The Patch. They had never met before. And so we got them together. They interviewed one another. They were fantastic. And so there is the live conversation.
So it's 2 for 2 on this. I listened to this, both these interviews. I thought that was excellent. And it's funny because you're kind of purposely getting people who don't know each other and might have some reason to disagree. And it's just, it's maybe a little disappointing. You should shampoo on there fighting with some people. That would be good. Get him.
He's on
I'm
my
on the list.
short list. Yeah.
Yeah,
Really?
get him riled up. But they're very good conversations. And can you tell us at all about upcoming conversations, or if you're looking for people, how they could sign up to participate? I would encourage everybody to subscribe to this thing and listen to it. It's
Listen at
really-
least, yeah.
You know, it's a 20, 30-minute broadcast. You listen to a podcast you listen to in your car or whatever you're walking around. And it's two Melrosians in a nice conversation. It's really very, very good.
So yesterday morning, we met with two other Melrosians, Abby Brickman and Lexi Du Silva, two young Melrose moms who had a lot in common and also some things that they challenged one another on.
Nice.
So that is in production, waiting for final edits, and it should be released next week. We're going to try to do it on a weekly basis. I'm getting
Nice.
faster than
What day?
than I
Is there
thought.
going to be a day of the week I look forward to this, or just generally every week?
The day, whatever the day is.
Okay.
But we have a few more coming up that we're going to try to record. So we have plenty of time to edit over vacation break. And I'll put a link if you're interested in signing up. We do have some interesting folks that are in queue that we would love to get
Good.
matched.
All right. And
So really quickly, oh, go ahead. Do you want to do this?
nope. Go ahead.
All right.
You're on a roll.
We gotta
This
get
is
to
what
our
happens
guest.
when I do all the homework with the team project.
Oh, you're getting all,
right.
the credit. Let's go.
Right.
So Maeve is having their 9th annual community coffee house, Voices Against Violence. It's this Sunday, April 10th from 4 to 6 at Temple Beth Shalom. Only 75 tickets are available. I will put the web address, and adults are $10, students are $5. So that is Sunday evening. And I've never been, but I hear it's an amazing program. But if you are looking for something to do on Saturday night, April 9th,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
We're going to
Here
pivot
we
to
go.
our guest.
Let's get to our guest. Somebody want to let him in?
Yep. Of course we do.
Matt,
Matt, how
Matt,
are you?
Matt Fanikos. Am I pronouncing that correctly?
Pronouncing it correctly, Tom.
All right. So first question, are you still wearing ties to work? You got quite a collection back there.
Yeah, I'm not. This is actually my dad's little office. So those are all his ties. This is the only quiet
Okay.
I can get.
Nice. So we heard that you have started something called the Melrose Comedy Bar, which we're just thrilled to hear about in town, and we don't know anything about it. So tell us what's happening on the comedy scene.
So the Melrose Comedy Bar I started in last July. So what we've done is we've basically at the Knights of Columbus, and they have what you were discussing a little bit before, but they have a small kind of like attic. It's not an attic, it's like a small lounge. Well, it's a large lounge, but within the lounge they have a smaller room that I looked at, and I do comedy kind of throughout Boston, and then I've performed in a few different other states. But from all my experience, small rooms are the best. So I looked at that room. Like, this is a perfect room for comedy, on top of the location, which is in downtown Melrose. So basically, it's a 2-for-1. If you go out to eat in downtown Melrose and you're looking for something to do after second Saturday of the month, we have a comedy show that features some Boston headliners and some of the best up-and-coming comedians. And Boston, as you probably are aware, is one of the top cities in the world for stand-up. So we're just constantly in talent like you wouldn't believe.
Wow. So this has been going. So I've been oblivious to this. I'm a big comedy fan. It's been off the game in the pandemic, but we used to go over. I used to do a birthday party for myself over at Giggles, get a bunch of people to go to Giggles and check out what the show was. And I've dragged my wife to a number of things around Boston, but certainly not since the pandemic started. So you said every couple of weeks this is happening.
So we're doing it the second Saturday of every month. So we were doing it once a month from July to about October. Then we had that kind of dip because of the wave. So we took some time off, and then we're starting to go back full throttle again.
So the second Saturday, is that this weekend, April 9th?
Yeah, that's this weekend.
All right. So what's the lineup? What's happening there?
So we have in the lineup, we have Mike McCarthy headlining. Mike, I'm not sure if anyone's seen him. He's a fantastic talent. He's from Medford, actually, but he performs, does events all over. He's a national act. He's just absolutely hilarious. We have Julie Nolan on, who's a Melrose.
Yeah, sure. She was the one.
Yep, she's great. She's just such a good person to have in comedy and in the community. And then we
Right.
have up and coming comedians from Boston that are making their names for themselves. So
Nice.
it's just we get a mixed lineup of some older folks, and then some younger acts.
And where's this? So I don't think I've been to the Sam. Have you been to the small room?
I have
at the,
not.
Knights
Where?
of
How do you get
Columbus?
there?
So
You're in, like,
basically,
a-
yeah, it's just you walk up the stairs. It's like you'd walk in and be like, where am I going? And then we have just, we can fit about, the room could fit about 75 people, but it's a small, intimate room, which I think is perfect for comedy.
Yeah, for sure.
We basically turned that room into a comedy club. So it's just, it's been very successful so far.
That's amazing. So tell us more about you. Like, where do you live in town? Have you?
Yep.
grow
So
up
I
here?
grew up in Melrose. I graduated from Melrose in 2013. I'm still living in Melrose. But I graduated from, I wrestled. I was a state champion wrestler for Melrose.
Hey,
Congrats. There you go.
And then went to Roger Williams, and then shortly after started doing stand up, and then figured I've been doing it for about 4 years now, and then I've kind of performed throughout, New England, and then figured, it's time for me to start my own show, produce my own show, and I'm like, I found just the perfect spot for it. So I'm just so happy to bring it to my hometown, and then bring it, have everyone enjoy a good show around here.
I'm so thrilled to learn about this. Yeah. Go ahead,
So, do you miss stand up, or are you still doing any stand up at all on your own? Or
I do. Like I perform very frequently still. So it's just I think like part of like becoming a good stand up is like producing your own show. It's like you learn a lot about the business through producing your own show, like what bookers need, kind of like what makes a good show run, and then you start to understand the business a lot better from producing your own show. And then and on top of it, it's a good place for me to work out my own, work out my material without kind of like it's a low pressure room because I don't have to impress anyone. It's my show.
Right.
I used to go get air for my tire at the garage. It was free. Now it's $1. You know why? Inflation. Boom! There you go. Free joke for you.
Hey, can we get shampoo 5 minutes? Can we get shampoo 5 minutes Saturday night? Come on.
I had to throw a dad joke out there in honor of Tom Catalini.
Yeah. So listen, what's it cost for a ticket to this thing?
So a ticket is $20. So
Nice.
Yeah, so
that is nice. Yeah,
very reasonable. And then now, say a person wants to go to a comedy show, throws down the $20, goes to this nice intimate room. Can a person get a drink there, or how does this work?
Person can get as many drinks as they want. It's,
Really?
We've actually, because it's like the Knights of Columbus is a religious affiliation, we've kind of bypassed some of the kind of the eating policies that goes along with Melrose. So that's another reason why. It's a sweet spot.
Do you have a cat? Is that what is happening?
Oh, I'm sorry. That's why.
Is that you?
Oh, that's good.
Welcome cats to the show too. There's no.
Cats are welcome.
Okay. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. We're bypassing the local ordinances. We're in a religious affiliation. We got a private room upstairs.
Yeah.
And now, can I get a chicken wing or anything, or is it just
Yeah,
food?
so in the past, I think they're starting to serve food up there.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm not sure what's on the menu, but I think they have they're going to start to serve some types of food. But this will be the first show that they've done it.
Nice.
But yeah, plenty of drinks, plenty, and then of course you got, if you want to eat before, you're already downtown. And
Yes.
then the show starts at 8:30. We always start a little bit later, around 8:45, just because no one can get anywhere on time anymore.
Right. I know that is a thing.
Yeah, no, it is a thing. And then the show usually is about an hour and a half.
Wow, that's great.
Nice.
Yeah, I had no idea. So I'm so glad that you're here on the show to tell us about this and to let folks know that this is happening around town. We really appreciate that. So again, I'm thrilled that you're into comedy. My sister did stand-up comedy for many, many years, so I have an appreciation for. I used to go with her and sit there through like 25 or 30 people just to see her.
The open mic list. Yeah.
So anyway,
where is she? She doesn't perform anymore.
She hasn't performed in a bunch of years, but she did for a long time. She was local in New England, Boston and all that region. But anyway, so you started this last summer, you said?
Yeah, so back last July 17th was the first show. That was
that's when we thought COVID was over.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, no kidding.
That was the perfect time to start. Yeah.
So what's your interest in producing? So I caught that you said that you wanted to produce more. So now you're more like a booker in part, or like
I would say my primary focus is still being the best stand-up I can be. Like that's my first. That's why I love stand-up. I love doing it. That's definitely my priority. But in terms of producing, it's just like good to be able to run a show. It's it's also like not the hardest thing in the world. Like once you, it's kind of like, what do you need?
Yeah, but you know, somebody's got to be the catalyst to make that happen. So are you the MC? Like, what's the guy's name? Joe Pizzi or something? At Giggles. You're like the MC for the night.
I alternate. The lineup's always alternating. So it's usually a new host every month.
Oh, really? Interesting.
Yeah. So we're funneling in just new lineups every month too. So it's just there's so many good comedians around here that I love to get up, and then the audience has loved.
And then how's the crowd been? Have you been filling the room?
Yeah, crowd's been great. The first show we sold out.
Wow, great.
Yep. And then it's been close to a sellout. Then the next, we've had 5 shows. The first one sold, and then we're usually averaging around probably like 50 people up there.
So what should people do to get a ticket? Did they buy it online? Can you buy it at the door? How does that work?
Yeah, so you can buy. I advise people to go to melrosecomedybar.com, and then you can buy a ticket. We have walk-ins, but we've had to shut people down in the past because we're at capacity.
I did put the link up. And I'll put it again.
I think you put it in the private chat, though.
I did it both. I did both.
Okay.
We're trending towards a sellout for this one, so I definitely advise people to buy early.
Nice. Yeah.
So it's this Saturday, April 9th, you said, right?
Yeah.
It's coming just 5 days away, 4 or 5 days away.
Right.
Where are you having dinner this weekend, Tom?
My wife is out of town this weekend, so I'll be dining alone probably here at the house.
I was going to invite you over, but you're uninvited after the show.
Oh, look at that! Oh, wow! Wow, I ruined my whole weekend because of that.
And I had
cheer yourself up and go over to the Melrose Comedy Bar.
No kidding, right? There we go. Tom Catalini, I think you should try to do some time up on the Comedy Bar.
Yeah, I'll take care of it. I might be a better MC than comedian. You know, you come out and you say a thing and you transition to the next person, and I don't know. We'll see. I got to go scope it out first.
We'll figure something out.
All right. What? Yeah. So, listen, I only get paid in Bitcoin, though. That's the only thing. I'll give you my wallet address.
Smart man. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I'll be at the Knights of Columbus, I think, later this week, checking out this open mic thing.
Yeah.
Acoustic open mic, which I don't know if that's in the secret room, little room, or in the big room.
That's in the little room as well. So we're
upstairs.
Yep. So if you go to that room, you'll see it will look a little bit different for the comedy show. Like we're going to do certain adjustments before the next show, but like that's the space that we operate in, and then we're trying to kind of just turn that room kind of. How
do you adjust the room to make it funnier? Like what are the adjustments for a comedy versus acoustic open mic night?
So basically, we just minimizing distractions in the background.
Yes,
I think. Is kind of the biggest.
We saw Julie at the Rising Eagle, and I think that was it was great to see something live in town and all of that. But what a tough room. She did fantastic, but what a tough room because there's so much noise and distractions, as you say.
Yeah.
So I'm thrilled to be able to go check this out in a distraction-free zone.
Yeah, it's pretty. People. We have like pretty much a bouncer, so we have someone up there to make sure everything is going.
So if Shampoo gets riled up, we just bounce him right out of there.
They're right down.
Your $20 is gone, sir, and so are you.
Absolutely. It's in my pocket.
Sam's already done that. She's already bounced me.
Yeah, right. Because you can't have hecklers, right? I mean really.
You can heckle to your own risk, but I personally, I don't like it.
what do you think about this whole Will Smith, Chris Rock thing? Because there's a very real concern in the community that that's not okay to go up on stage and physically assault someone. People were concerned. I listened to, I don't know, David Spade and somebody else on a podcast, and they're like, that's kind of concerning that we don't want people broadly to feel like they have license now to go up and sort of do that. Are you guys talking about that as comedians?
Yes and no. Like it was definitely like a talking point. It was as much as we talked about it as much as I think anyone else probably did. And I don't think that was right. I think he knows it wasn't right. I think it was an impulsive, kind of irrational thing he did. I think he tried to make amends as much as he could. But I think at the end of the day, you just don't do that. And
but I just think like you don't want people to think like, so heckling is a thing and the comedian can respond. You don't want people, throwing things at the comedian or whatever. You don't want that to escalate.
Right. I think people have done a good job trying to reinforcing the fact that that's not okay.
Yeah.
Like that's not, you don't do that. Right. And then, because comedy it's a sacred space, right? Yeah. It's like it's one of those things that, you might not like the comedian, but there is an element of someone just trying to tell jokes up there and trying to make people laugh. And if they're not most comedians aren't trying to go up there and offend people. They're just trying to get people to laugh. If people don't laugh enough times, they're not going to tell the joke anymore. So if you don't like something, the best thing you can do is just not laugh.
Right. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. All right.
All right. Yeah.
Wow.
Thank you.
I think we learned a lot about the Melrose Comedy Bar, and I'm just so excited about all these things happening in town now. There's a scene. I can walk to this stuff. I can have a few laughs. I can have a piece of chicken and go on about my business. Right.
It's just like it's in such a great location because you're just already downtown. It's just like it's right there. It's just so easy. It's just walk up the stairs and you will not regret it.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's awesome. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Yeah, thanks so much, Matt. Really appreciate it.
Anything else you wanted to convey, Matt, that we didn't ask you?
Yeah, so it would be great. So I started, you can kind of if you go to the Instagram page, the Melrose Comedy Bar Instagram, you can actually see clips of previous shows we've had. So you can kind of get a taste for what, the audience is like, what the room's like, what the comedians are like.
Oh, cool.
So you can get a kind of a taste of the Melrose Comedy Bar there. Also, I'm in the process of the Facebook pages. You can like it now. But we're going to kind of produce the same content on the Instagram page as the Facebook page. So if you could like and follow us, Melrose Comedy Bar, that would be greatly appreciated.
Awesome. Yeah. Awesome. We're on it. All right, cool.
Thanks.
Well, thank you for coming. It was nice to meet you. Yeah.
Yeah, this was great. I love, bringing local arts to Melrose, and then you'd be surprised how great all the live entertainment is. Just we live in one of the art capitals of the world, so it's so great.
It's unbelievable. If you go to any of the art shows in town, or the open studio tour, or you go to Porch Fest and see musicians, I mean, it is really something right here in Melrose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Very talented city.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very talented city. And so I think we're going to leave you with that, Matt. We dance it off at the end of the show. 27
Speaking of
seconds.
talent.
Yeah.
Speaking of talent.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
I appreciate
and
it.
we will see you around this talented town.
Awesome. Thank you so much.